Hey, Joe Yudin from Touring Israel here with you today. Today we're going to do a short series about the mountain where we're on right now called Masada. Masada means fortress. It's a national park and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And it's one of the most interesting stories that the Jewish people have in their very vast and long history. So come, check it out with me. So here we are at the top of Masada, and looking down at the base, we can see three square or triangle shaped Roman fortresses. One has been reconstructed, and we also see a wall that goes around the base of the mountain. So we know there's almost 1,000 rebels up here. We know the leader of the zealots, the Jewish rebels who were fighting the Romans, Elazar ben Yair, is up here, and the Romans want him. So they build 8 camps around Masada. They build a wall around Masada. Why do they build a wall? Well, Josephus Flavius says that they did it to keep the Jews inside. Probably Flavius Silva wanted to keep his soldiers busy, thinking that he's going to starve the Jews out, that they didn't have enough food and water, which they did. So he keeps them busy by building this wall around the mountain. So it's important to remember that Masada was built by King Herod in the 1st century BC as a place to go for he and his family in case there was a rebellion in Judea. So he builds this desert mountaintop fortress, and he builds everything he needs here. And of course, one of the things he needed was water. It only rains on average 6 days a year. So he builds these canals along near the top of the mountain. He uses plaster made of seashells, so the water, every last drop of rain, would flow into the canal and into the water cistern that he bored out of the rock. Let's go inside and take a look at the cistern. So here in the cistern, you can notice the plaster that King Herod made with a mixture of seashells and sand. A lot of it's still here today after 2,000 years, which just proves the point that Herod was this great builder, architect who built all over Judea. The water cisterns up here on Masada collected every single drop of rainwater, and it was enough water on a good year to last several years for up to 1,000 people. Here we are at the main gate of Masada. It was the only way in at the time, exits to the snake path going down the mountain, and King Herod only used the materials that were here to build Masada. That's why we don't see finely cut stones here like we do at the Western Wall, but he uses plaster to make it look like the Western Wall. Notice the black line here. The famous archaeologist, he's also one of the army chiefs of staff in the early days of the state of Israel, Joe Yudin. Everything that he finds as is, he leaves as is while he's excavating. Everything that he restores, say he finds a stone and he puts it back in place, he would paint a black line so you would know that he restored everything above the black line and everything under was found as is. And this is what you see all over the world today. The black line shows you what was originally found and what is restored today. So it's interesting because King Herod, who lived in the 1st century BCE, was a Sadducee. He was from the priestly class. They were aligned with the Romans. He was friends originally with Mark Antony and then pledged his loyalty to Augustus Caesar. He was a Sadducee. What does that mean? That means they controlled the temple. Not only was it a religious site, but it was the bank. The Sadducees wanted to keep things cool. They did not want war with the Romans. They also did not believe in an afterlife, and they did not believe in the oral tradition. And this was at odds with the rabbis, the Pharisees. So the Sadducees believed in a very strict interpretation of the Torah, where the Pharisees, the rabbis, would interpret them loosely, more in the spirit of the law than the letter of the law. The Sadducees and King Herod were more about the letter of the law. And there's one of the 10 commandments, thou shalt have no graven images, okay? And the Sadducees and King Herod took that very seriously. So when you look at these beautiful frescoes, you'll notice that there's something missing. If you go to Greece or you go to Italy, you always see beautiful scenes of people and animals in the frescoes, but not here. Why? Because King Herod was a Sadducee, and he took that rule, no graven images, apparently very seriously. Maybe not for him because he wasn't very religious, but for the sect of Jews that he belonged to, the Sadducees. Here I am doing my Samson impression, but what you'll notice about King Herod's pillars is they're actually cut wheels with a hole in the middle. And when you come here, make sure to put your hand up here. You can feel the hole. And they're just, it's a wooden rod where he takes wheels, stone wheels, and he stacks them up upon each other. And then he plasters, like we saw in the water cistern, he takes this seashell-based plaster and he plasters it to make it look like a marble pillar.